What are the best tools to heal trauma so you can actually practically do the work? I'm going to be telling you my favorite tools of what I've done for myself to heal myself and which ones I use for my clients as well to help them get life-changing transformations. So if you're actually on your healing journey, you've heard about you got to do the work, you got to do the inner healing, you got to work on yourself, you got to do whatever, and you don't know where do I actually start and what do I actually do to do it, this podcast is for you. I'm going to be giving you a ton of information today. So you might even want to make some notes of this one because I'm going to be sharing my screen. Watch the video version of this podcast if you can, because we're going to talk about the 5 bodies and what those bodies are. I'm going to give you a list of probably about 50-ish different types of tools and modalities that you can actually use to heal. And I'm going to give you my top 5. So the 5 that I love the most, that I think are the most transformational tools you can do to do inner work or healing. So with that being said, let's rock and roll. My name is Lewis. If you don't know who I am, I'm a coach, I'm an author, I'm a speaker. I'm the author of the Inspired Life Method. Go grab yourself a copy if you want to. I have an online coaching program and community, and I run in-person events. I've coached over 6,000 people. I love healing. Self-transformation is my favorite topic. I love talking about it. So I'm probably going to get on some tangents today, but I hope you guys enjoy that. So I'm going to share my screen as of right now. So this is actually a bit of a snippet into my 3-day event, so you guys get a bit of a sneak peek. So let's define this. What is inner work? Let's start with that. This is my definition of it. Well, there's a big definition. This is the big version, but then I'll break it down. I'll give you my simpler version. I like to simplify things so it's more understandable and rememberable. So this is the big version of what is inner work. Listen to what I say. It is the psychological, also emotional, physical, spiritual, and energetic practice of identifying and dissolving the contractions and blockages that obscure your inner light, quote, your true authentic self, for the purposes of self-awareness, healing, transformation, and expansion. Now, that is a mouthful. So I like to simplify things. So if you'd like to know my definition of what inner work is, here you go. It is to dissolve and heal the wounds and blockages that are masking your true self. It's really sweet. I really enjoy that. Listen to that again. Inner work is dissolving and healing the wounds and blockages that are masking your true self. So you may have heard of the Statue of David before. If you're watching the video, you can see that photo on my screen now. So the Statue of David, if you've done any inner work or you're familiar with this world, you've probably heard this quote before, and there's different versions of it. So if you haven't heard it before, Michelangelo, who sculpted the Statue of David, was asked, how did you make such a beautiful statue? And he said, it was easy. David was always in the statue. I just chipped away anything that wasn't him. And again, it really fits well with what I just said before. It's removing those masks, those blockages that are hindering or hiding your true self, your true authentic self. So let's keep going. It is another way to put it. I've got a lot of definitions of trauma and healing and how you can do it. So here's another one for you. So it is the process of loving or integrating all parts of who you are. I really like that one too. It's learning to love all parts of who you are. Now, best example is a baby. If you're a parent, it'll be easy to understand, but you can do it anyways if you're not. Think of a baby. When a baby is born, what parts of the baby is worthy of love? It's an obvious answer. When a baby is born, what parts of the baby is worthy of love? Obvious answer, right? All parts of the baby is. All parts of the baby is worthy of love. But we then go through our trauma and we start to learn, or we start to disintegrate. If we go back to that other definition I said, we disintegrate and we cut off and we learn that some parts of us aren't lovable. And that happens through trauma. Now, I'll give you my definition of what trauma is in a moment. But that's essentially, again, that's what we're doing. We're learning to love all parts of who we are. Because whatever trauma you've been through, it is I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Trauma, I might skip to it and come back. So trauma, for me, is a trait or a behavior. Someone did something or didn't do something that was bad, wrong, painful, too much or not enough. And it's going to be a trait, an action, a trait, a behavior, an action, or an inaction. It might be rejection, abandonment, condescending, lying, manipulative, whatever it may be. And whatever those things are, those parts of you, those become parts of you that you don't, quote, integrate, or that you have disintegrated, or that you don't love. So the process of inner work is learning to heal and dissolve the wounds and blockages that are masking your true self, and learning to love and integrate all parts of who you are. Because when a baby is born, you all know the answer. When a baby is born, all parts of the baby is worthy of love. But right now, you don't love all parts of who you are. Interesting, right? So here's some really good definitions that I love of what is trauma. So what is trauma? This is from Dr. Gabor Mate. He says, trauma is not what happens to you. It's what happens inside of you. Bang a line. I really love that. Trauma is not what happens to you. It's what happens inside of you. Really nice. This is from Dr. Sarah Woodhouse. She says, trauma is unprocessed memories. Really love that one too. So you've been through something that was too much or not enough, and you haven't processed it yet. Now, I'll give you a little side tangent on this point. Your body, your heart, your soul, us, every part of us is homeostatic. We are homeostatic organisms. What does that mean? We want to come back into equilibrium. We want to come back into balance. If you did any chemistry or biology or physics growing up during school, you want to come back. It's like homeostasis. We want to come back into balance. When you get a cut on your arm or you injure yourself, you get a cut on your body somewhere, you don't need to tell your body to heal. It instantaneously starts to heal. It wants to come back into balance, into homeostasis, into equilibrium. The same thing is with your mind. So if you've gone through something, quote, painful, something traumatic, and you haven't healed it or, quote, processed it, you're trying to process it. That's why you keep thinking about it. Now, you might try to suppress it. That's a strategy. But it's like if you keep thinking about mum or dad or your childhood or whatever's happened, someone fucked you over, someone did you wrong, something traumatic happened to you, and you keep thinking of that thing, that's your mind or your soul, your intuition, trying to balance it or trying to integrate it or trying to process it. Now, when you do my healing processes, we essentially speed that up. That's essentially what we're doing. So, hope you're enjoying this so far. This is Dr. John Demartini. He's actually been the most pivotal transformational change of a mentor that I've worked with. He's upskilled me the most in terms of my ability and understanding of trauma. So he says this really well. He says, anything you can't say thank you for, be grateful for, or have love for is baggage. Anything you can is fuel. So anything you can't say thank you for, be grateful for, or have love for is baggage. Anything you can is fuel. Really, really nice. Really like that one. He's got another quote that I love. Anything you experience outside of love and gratitude is a lopsided perception. Now, this can be hard to comprehend what I'm saying, but anything you've been through, any person, any situation that you can't genuinely have love and gratitude for is a lopsided perception. You are not seeing the full picture. And I'll show you a testimonial in this video of a client of mine who was sexually abused from her dad for 5 years. And she did my process, my balancing process, and she was able to get to the point of gratitude and love. Pretty powerful. So, and again, that's hard to comprehend if you've been through your stuff and you haven't done inner healing work to the degree that I take people to really get that. But once you do it, you get it. Once you get it, you get it. Once you know, right? So this is, again, my definition of trauma before we get into the tools. Trauma is a moment in time when something was painful, wrong, or bad, too much or not enough. Someone did something or didn't do something that was painful, wrong, too much, or not enough. And it will be a behavior, a character trait, an action, or an inaction. A couple more quotes before we actually get into the actual tools. Dr. Joe Dispenza, I love Joe Dispenza. He says, to change your personal reality, you must change your personality. Which goes really well with this other quote I've got here. Thoughts are the language of the mind. Emotions are the language of the body. So if you want to change your personal reality, you must change your thoughts, your beliefs, your perceptions, and the emotional home that you live in. Because your thoughts, your perceptions, everything that goes on within your mind, and all the emotions and energy you feel within your body is creating your personal reality. So to change your personal reality, you must change your personality. You need to change those thoughts by processing things, balancing your perceptions, changing your perceptions, which will then in turn change your emotions as well. And that is what transformation is. That's what change is. I hope you're enjoying this so far. I haven't really gone this deep on a podcast in a while. So there are 5 bodies to heal through. 5 bodies to heal through. I'm going to go through this relatively quick because I think we'll be here for a while, but we'll go through them quickly. Here are the 5 bodies. Number 1, you've got the mental body. Now, I'm going to break this down and tell you examples of what they are and what they mean in a moment, but you've got the mental body. Second, you've got the physical body. Third, you have the emotional body. Fourth, you have the spiritual body. And fifth, you have the energetic body. You do those all together, you integrate all of your bodies, or you heal through all of the 5 bodies. You're going to become and express more of your true authentic essence, your soul, and that's what inner work is. So inner work is healing, dissolving, integrating all parts of who you are using all of the bodies. Because some people just get stuck in one of the bodies. It's like you go to talk therapy, and now I'm not the biggest fan personally of talk therapy because they don't necessarily close the loop and heal the wound properly. They kind of just talk about it and they kick the can down the road. So, but let's just use, say you're doing some mental work. You may be doing some NLP, you're doing some timeline therapy, you're doing some mental beliefs work, you're working on your beliefs. That's awesome. That's a great start. But if you have a lot of suppressed emotions within your nervous system that you haven't addressed yet, it's still in your nervous system. So yes, you can do the belief work, but you've got to do the emotional work. Or maybe you've got some stored trauma in your tissues, in your somatic body. So somatics, physical body and somatics are the same thing. So soma means body. So when you hear physical body, it's also somatics. So maybe you need some somatic work done. This is where, again, there's no ultimate tool. There's a quote that I want to drop here. I haven't got it on the slides, but a great quote that I love from Bruce Lee. He says, "There is no ultimate martial art, only the ultimate martial artist who knows every single martial art and knows when to pull from the right one at the right time to get the right result." Same thing with healing. There's no ultimate way to heal. It's not like this is the only tool that you have to use to be able to heal and integrate. There's many different tools. It depends what body your trauma is in. Do you have it in your mind? You've got some lopsided perceptions. You've got some beliefs that don't serve you, that are holding you back. Or do you have it in your nervous system? Have you got a really dysregulated nervous system? Some suppressed emotions that you haven't released yet? Have you got it stored energetically? Have you got it stored somatically? Have you got it stored spiritually? You have a spiritual block where you're not accessing source, God, divine order, whatever it may be. And I'm going to break this down for you quickly because we'll be here all day if I go too deep into it. So we got the mental body. I'll fly through this. If you want to pause the video and write it out, you can if you want to. The mental body is your thoughts, memories, perceptions, attitudes, beliefs, limiting beliefs, and judgments. In other words, it's your, quote, ego. Your ego is your human identity. Some people think ego is bad. Ego is not bad. It's your programming. It's the coding on your computer. It's not bad. It's your human identity. So these are some tools that you can use to address the mental body. The ego dissolving process, that's one of mine. My balancing process, NLP, timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, traditional therapy, DeMartini facilitation, CBT, meditation, Psych K, holographics, internal family systems. Those are fantastic modalities that you can go try. We've got the physical body, that's somatics. It's your skin, everything under the skin, the brain, the organs, the tissues, everything between the ears, the skeletal system, the fascia, organs, all of those things. That's the physical body. Here are some tools. Yoga, exercise, dancing or movement, qigong, body work, kahuna massages, tantric healing. Those are some tools that you can go do. The emotional body, this is our nervous system, our hormones, our tears, our touch, and our water release. Those are our tears. What tools can you use for that? The ego dissolving process, that's my one. The balancing process, breath work, EFT, which is tapping, emotional release techniques like rage releases, meditations, holographics, internal family systems. EMDR, I believe, does tap on this as well. You got the spiritual body. This is your connection to all things, including the earth, self, what you call God, the universe, the beyond, the divine, the higher self. It connects us to all that is. What are some tools to address the spiritual body, you may ask? The balancing process, meditation, plant medicines, ceremonial practices, holographics, great tools. The energetic body. This is the subtle, intangible layer of our being that represents the flow of life energy within and around us. Often described as your biofield, your aura, or energy system. It bridges the gap between our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects. So this one bridges all of the bodies together. What modalities can you use for this? Chakra balancing, sound healing, breath work, crystal healing, meridian tapping, aura cleansing, Reiki healing, meditation. As you can see, there's fucking heaps out there. There's so many tools. Again, there's no ultimate martial art, only the ultimate martial artist who has knows every martial art and knows when to pull from the right one at the right time to get the right result. This is the challenge that I see when it comes to a lot of people that do inner healing or do trauma work or whatever it may be, is when you're holding a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So you do one process. Let's use breath work as an example. You go do some breath work, and for anyone that's done breath work before, it's fantastic. It's actually in my top 5. It's my just gave you a hint for my top 5. It's in my top 5. It's a fantastic tool, but it's not the cure to everything. Because if you've got some unprocessed beliefs and perceptions, and so you've got something mentally that needs addressing, but you just keep doing breath work. Breath work doesn't do mental processing. Breath work is good for somatic, energetic, and emotional. It doesn't tap on mental. So you need to make sure you address it with a mental tool as well. There's no ultimate martial art, only the ultimate martial artist. If you're holding a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So you may have tried a great tool. I use my spiritual humans as well. You might have done some plant medicine. I've done plant medicine. I'm a big fan of it. I have a little mushroom literally on my table because I'm a fan of mushrooms. I'm a fan of ayahuasca. I'm a fan of doing spiritual ceremonies. But it's not the be all and end all. It's one tool that does work. And this is the thing. People get stuck in their tools. You do breath work or you do a plant ceremony or whatever it may be, and it shifts your life. Fantastic. You get a transformation. Amazing. But then you're like, oh my God, this is the best thing. I'm going to do this forever. And then you're doing a breath work ceremony or a plant medicine ceremony every fucking weekend. And it's like, great, that's awesome. If you don't address the other bodies, you haven't completed your healing journey. That now, side note, I don't think anyone is ever fully healed. There's always more layers to go. But if you do not address the other bodies, you're missing one of the pieces or many of the pieces. So my invitation to you from this conversation today is continue your healing journey. I'd love to serve you if you want to. I'm not done. I've got way more. I'm going to give you my top 5 in a moment. But just please make sure you're addressing all bodies. Don't get stuck in one. Don't get stuck in the talk therapy or the NLP or the belief stuff. That's all mental. Don't get so stuck in the breath work and the emotional releasing stuff. Don't get so stuck in the ceremonial practices. Don't get so stuck in the energetic practices. Do all of them. Try them all. I literally worked with a Reiki healer for 6 months because my strongest ones are mental and emotional. They're my strongest suits. So mental perceptions, beliefs, memories, trauma, mentally speaking, you got things you're holding on to or you're suppressing, and your emotional stuff. So your nervous system, regulating your nervous system, releasing suppressed emotions. They're my biggest strengths. I've learned about all of them and I have tools that touch on all of them, but those are my strongest bodies that I address as a coach. But you got to make sure that you're addressing all of them. Otherwise, you're going to stay stuck. So that's my tip to you. So let's continue with this podcast or this training. So again, people say, what tools should I start with? It depends what body you need addressed. So what I suggest, so I've tried 20 as a client. I've done over 20 modalities. Like I said, I did Reiki healing for 6 months just to try it because it's not in my wheelhouse. I'm not a Reiki teacher. I don't plan on becoming one, but I tried it to experience it so I could understand it. So, and it was really good. I was a big fan of it. Just side note, I was a big fan of it. So I've done over 20 modalities as a client. So I've paid to have someone do the processes on me, and I've been certified in 9. So I actually, a side quest for my life, it's a pretty important quest for me, is I'm on a bit of a quest to become, quote, the ultimate martial artist. So anyone that comes to me with any mental, emotional, physical, somatic, any form of, quote, trauma, I'm able to serve them. I'm able to pull from my toolkit. I actually combine tools. So my balancing process is my favorite processing tool. I use 6 modalities in the one process. That's why it's so transformational, just so you guys know. Anyways, so the ones that I would suggest doing, there's 2 types of tools. I'm going to speed this up because this is going longer than I thought. There's 2 categories of tools. Number 1 is maintenance tools. So these are tools that we do in the moment to help you in the moment. So say you get triggered, you go into a trauma response, you get stressed, you get anxious, you get overwhelmed. You do something to get you through the moment. That might be grounding, breath work, reframing, a diaphragm reset. There's heaps of things you can do to actually do in the moment. I'm not talking about that in detail today. I'm mainly talking about progress tools. Progress tools is when you reflect back and you identify what got triggered to start with and you integrate it. You heal the trauma. You remove the limiting belief. You do the progress stuff so you stop getting triggered and you don't need to keep doing maintenance tools. So this is a bit of a... I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. This is a little bit of a rant that I've had because I've been to practices, I've been to certifications, I've been to trainings where people who they're teaching their modality, they say this is the best tool. It's better than everything else. And it's total bullshit. One, again, you're holding a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I'm going to use breath work because I've seen this be said before. They say something along the lines of breath work is the best tool on the planet. And I say bullshit because they said something along the lines of, because if you've got something that's suppressed in you, you just keep thinking about it, you're never releasing the suppressed emotions, which I agree with. But let's play this out. Say you've got suppressed emotions, your nervous system is really dysregulated. Say you've got some trauma you've been through. So you go through some trauma, say you get rejected or abandoned, because trauma in my world is a trait or a behavior. So say you got abandoned when you were younger, and your trauma response, your coping mechanism is to get anxious. And then a trigger is something that reminds you of the trauma and activates the coping mechanism. So you've been abandoned, that's the trauma. Your coping mechanism, you get anxious. The trigger is whenever someone abandons you, you get anxious. So you go through life and someone abandons you. It triggers you, you get anxious. Your nervous system starts to get dysregulated. That happens again and again and again and again. And eventually your nervous system is really dysregulated. You've got a lot of emotions in your nervous system and it's causing you to be anxious, stressed, and dysregulated frequently. Fantastic. Then you sign up to a breathwork practice. You go do a breath work, and for anyone that's done breath work, the healing version of breath work, you have this huge somatic emotional release. You scream, you cry, you let it all out. You feel so good. You feel so light. Oh my God, that was amazing. Changed my life forever. I feel so great. Awesome. If you don't then address the trauma that's still there, because that hasn't healed the trauma, you've released the emotions that have come from it. That's better than nothing. That's a good start. That's a maintenance tool. If you don't actually integrate the trauma, guess what? You'll get triggered again. Someone's going to abandon you. You get triggered again. You get anxious again. And then that stored emotion builds up, and then you're off for another breathwork ceremony. And this is what I was saying before. People get stuck in their fucking tools where they're off for a breathwork or a plant medicine ceremony every 2 weeks doing the same thing. You need to address all angles so you integrate the healing process holistically from all angles. I hope this is making sense because I see so many people get stuck with that. And the reason I do get great transformations is I use all 9 processes I've been certified in my tools. I address all 5 bodies and I use multiple modalities in the one modality. So I hope this is making sense. I hope my rant is getting through to you guys because I just see so many people that they're trying to heal, they're trying to do the work, but they're not getting shown the right tools and all the bodies and how to do it holistically. So I hope this is landing for you guys. I hope you're getting value from this. So with all that being said, just a reminder, there's 2 categories of tools. There's maintenance tools. That's what you do to maintain yourself or to regulate yourself in the moment. Breath work is great. Grounding is great. Co-regulating with animals and your partner is great. Eye gazing is great. Changing your state from Tony Robbins. So if you've done any Tony Robbins stuff, his triad where you physiology, focus, and language, how you anchor an emotional state, that's awesome as well. So there's certain tools that you do in the moment to get yourself through the moment and maintain yourself. I'm not referring to those tools right now. I'm going to give you my top 5 progress tools. What can you do to actually integrate and heal the trauma so you don't have to keep maintaining yourself all the time, or it's easier to maintain yourself? Here are my top 5. So I'm going to go in reverse order. So number 5, my 5th favorite tool is plant medicine. I'm a big fan of it. So I've done plant medicine, I want to say 15 to 20 times over the last 5 years. And it's fantastic. So I do it every 3 months, give or take. Sometimes I do it every 6 months. Sometimes I've done it within a month of each other, but plant medicine is fantastic. I'm biggest fan of mushrooms. So psychedelics, psilocybin mushrooms, they're my favorite ones. I've done ayahuasca as well. I prefer mushrooms over ayahuasca, just to be transparent. That's something that serves me better. And it's awesome. You get to connect with source more. You get to access parts of your mind that you didn't even know were there. Things come up that you can start processing. It's really, really awesome. So mushrooms or plant medicine is my 5th favorite healing tool that I've done, and that I'm not a shaman, so I can't tell anyone to go do that. I do not take ceremonies. That is not a modality I've been trained in. It's one that I've experienced as a client and has completely changed my life. So tread carefully and do that with the right people. So disclaimer there. My fourth one is breathwork. Breathwork is fantastic for healing or processing any precognitive trauma. Precognitive means there's no memory attached to it. Let me give an example. Say you're 6 months old and your mum or dad or you go through something very stressful and traumatic. You probably don't, or some people do. I've heard people have memories in the womb space, to be honest. So it depends on the person. But for a lot of people don't have memories before the ages of about 2 to 3. Now, some people do, most people don't. So anything that doesn't have any memory attached to it, there's no cognitive memory, it's precognitive. I think breathwork is the best because there's nothing mental there. It's just your nervous system. There's a book behind me called The Body Keeps the Score. That trauma, that suppressed emotions will stay in your system until you release it. That's where breathwork is fucking phenomenal. It's so good. And it's good because it knocks you out of your head. The way you breathe, it actually literally shuts off your prefrontal cortex. You overload your blood oxygen with too much CO2, and it literally, you go through something called transient, I'm forgetting the term, hypofrontality. It's transient hypofrontality. If I got that right, it's been a while, but that is essentially what you use breathwork for. It's to knock out your critical thinking mind, the prefrontal cortex, to literally allow your autonomic nervous system to kick in and let go of any emotions that's circulating in its nervous system. It's really, really good. Think about this. You've got into a stress response and you've got that adrenaline, that stress, that anxiety, that suppressed emotion in you. You haven't released it, so it's circulating in your nervous system. By doing a form of breath work where you actually literally shut off your prefrontal cortex and then you allow the transient hypofrontality to happen, you allow your autonomic nervous system to close the loop. You let the stress out, you let that emotion out, so then it's not there anymore. So breathwork as a healing, a progress tool for releasing precognitive trauma is fucking awesome. I'm a big fan. I am a breathwork facilitator. So that's one of the certs that I've done. So that's fourth. So fifth is plant medicine. Fourth is breathwork. Third, I've got a tie. It's John Demartini. So it's Demartini facilitation and holographics. So those, it is hard to explain those two in Cody or Demartini. If you guys see this, it's hard to explain Demartini and holographics in the one. Holy dooly. It's about perceptions. So it's how do you reprogram and integrate your perceptions on things. So it's hard to give it, to be honest. It's I do full trainings on it. My training on it goes for 45 minutes. So for my paying clients in my conscious community, if you want to come join, there's a full training that goes for like 45 minutes. So it's hard to teach that, but it's essentially balancing perceptions and it touches on a lot of the bodies. So Demartini and holographics, I'll put on the same level. So that would be number 3. Actually, I got 6 here. So plant medicine is number 6. Breathwork is number 5. Demartini and holographics is number 4. Number 3 is meditation. So for anyone that's done Joe Dispenza, his teachings on meditation is fucking phenomenal. So I use this with my clients. So I've been certified in I'm a Demartini facilitator. I'm a holographic facilitator. I've been trained in meditations. And then I've got these other ones that I sprinkle in there. But meditation is fantastic. Meditation allows you to do actually multiple things. It allows you to release suppressed emotions. It allows you to process memories and thoughts. And it allows you to change your emotional state. So meditation is one of the tools I use for my clients regularly. My second favorite is my ego dissolving process. So that is one of my personal processes I've created. And I've used, I think, 3 or 4 processes with that. It's removing limiting beliefs. That's the biggest foundational part. But it's also addressing suppressed emotions at the same time. So it's really cool. I use a bit of timeline therapy in there, a little hypnotherapy in there. It's really, really nice. One of my favorite processes is my ego dissolving process. My favorite process, my number one process for healing trauma, is my balancing process. It is my ability where I integrate Demartini, holographics, timeline therapy, hypnotherapy, NLP, and a couple other things into the one process. And it is absolutely phenomenal. I've helped people who have been sexually abused, who tried, I'll give you guys a quick testimonial of one of my clients just to prove to you guys how incredible this modality is. So it's my favorite one. So if you're looking at my screen, this is my conscious community where I serve my clients. So I actually posted this on my Instagram the other day. It says one of my clients, she made this post publicly for my team, for my community. So her dad sexually abused her for 5 years, from the ages of 5 to 9. Let me read this out to you. Now, it's a big post. If you want to read the whole thing, for the guys watching the video, just pause the video. You can read the whole thing now. I'm going to read this paragraph here. To say I love my dad is something I never thought could ever be possible, considering I was bedridden 8 years ago in so much pain. It's been a tough 30 plus years that she's spent in trauma therapy, but I'm so full of gratitude writing this in this moment. Now, if you remember what I said earlier about John Demartini's definition, he says anything you experience outside of loving gratitude is a lopsided perception. So she did the balancing process and got to the genuine love and gratitude point for her dad, doing what he did to her and for her. Now, again, that's hard to comprehend until you do a process. So it triggers a lot of people when I share that testimonial because it's so powerful. I posted a video version of it on my social media the other day. So that's my favorite process. So I thought it was top 5. It's actually top 6. Number 6 is plant medicine. Number 5 is breath work. Number 4 is Demartini and holographics on the same level. Number 3 is meditation. Number 2 is my ego dissolving process for beliefs and suppressed emotions. And number 1 is my balancing process, mainly for trauma, perceptions, emotions, and all this stuff. It's life-changing. So I hope you guys got some value from this. This was a longer podcast. I haven't done one this long in a while. So remember, I'll just summarize this quickly. There's no ultimate martial art, only the ultimate martial artist who knows all martial arts, knows when to pull from the right one at the right time to get the right result. There are 5 bodies that you want to heal on your healing journey. There's 2 types of tools. There's maintenance tools. It's what you do in the moment to continue through the moment and regulate yourself through the moment. And then there's progress tools. That's the stuff where we actually reflect back, find the trauma, find the wound, find what's going on, use the tool on it to heal it and integrate it so it stops popping its head up. And I just gave you my top 6. I hope this helped. This was a good podcast. I enjoyed it anyways. Let me know your thoughts down below. If you got value, please share. If you'd like to work with me, I have a book. It's on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible. The link is down below. If you'd like a free trial with my paid coaching where you get my balancing process, my ego dissolving process, my meditations, my grieving process, and so many other things, the link is down below. A free trial, plus you get a one-on-one call with me when you join. I'd love to talk to you guys, love to serve you guys. And if you got value, subscribe and share this with a friend so I can change the world one person at a time. I love you. Speak to you soon. Bye.